And it is a second day, and more importantly, actually, it's like a first day for the whole day. So 8 hours straight GIS, it's a little bit of a challenge, right? So I hope everybody kind of be patient and enjoy the session. And it's gonna be a long day, but we gonna have fun. Okay, so hopefully everybody stay till the end and get something out of this long day. Okay, so today's session, first of all, as I said, I want you guys to make sure to download the data from that folder, and day 2 zip file is the data file that we're gonna use. So a slight difference between the data that you guys downloaded yesterday, from this data that we're gonna use today, is that if you download that as day 2 zip file and unzip it, you will see these two files. I mean, there's another zip files that we will use toward the end of today's session. So let's not worry about this zip file. We're gonna unzip it this later in the afternoon, and we're gonna use it. Another files that you're gonna see is the geodatabase file. So once again, you're not gonna be able to get to understand what this data is by taking a look at in the file explorer. So let's not worry about this file in the file explorer. Just make sure to download zip file and unzip it and have this geodatabase file right there. Okay, and also let's not worry about this another zip file. In the zip file, we can unzip it, and we're gonna use this file later. I mean, let me explain why I have this file later in this afternoon. Okay, so that's where we're gonna start today. Okay, and the quick overview of today's session is something like this. We have what, 1, 2, 3, 4 different sessions. Actually, first two sessions is about sort of like a data visualization and data modification. So particularly focusing on the geometry side, vector geometry side modification. The first session is data visualization and map making. And second session is the sort of a data editing. So making a process on the vector geometry data, editing and modification. After the lunch break, we're gonna super focus on attribute data. So yesterday, the end of the session, we had a discussion about Excel tables and DBF files, GIS database, GIS attribute data file to the Excel and vice versa. And I envisions that you are kind of working on your attribute data in the Excel, right? So my point yesterday was that, yeah, I mean, of course, if you're familiar with Excel, if you want to do something in Excel and that's it, you can do it. But a lot of things that you can do in Excel can be done in the GIS as well. I mean, my case, obviously, there's a pros and cons between Excel and GIS. So I choose either Excel or GIS, whichever software gives me a more convenient tools. So a lot of cases, I do data processing in GIS, right? So that's something we're gonna practice in the afternoon session, okay? So the first session, as I said, today is the data visualization and map creation. So the goal of this session is making informative, appealing maps. So the reason why I emphasize map making is that many cases, the final product of GIS project is map. That's why a lot of people says that, oh, GIS is the mapping software. I mean, partially true, but not, I don't fully agree with that definition, but I mean, that's why people has sort of this misconception. So a lot of cases, we need to produce maps as a final product of the GIS project. So we're gonna practice the making of map. Map making sounds very straightforward, but sometimes it's not so easy because we want to make a map, nice, visually appealing or a nice looking map. But at the same time, the map should be very informative. Unlike any, written forms of report, maps should be self-explanatory. You don't want to add, a lot of explanation. You don't want to go over, pointed out every single things on the map. When you present the map should be self-explanatory, should be intuitive. It should translate the information that you want to present without any further explanation. So map making is sometimes challenging, okay? So that's something we're gonna practice. So the first step, first task, or first kind of exercise that I want to do with you guys is kind of labeling. So why don't we just start it with the software? So let's open ArcGIS Pro. Let's add data that we're gonna use today. Okay. Let me start without a template, but I'm not, because I'm not interested in saving this. So let me start that way. Okay, so before I add data, let me make sure to link the folder, or I can do the like the database connection, but let's not worry about it. So day 2 folder is what I want. So I linked my day 2 folder, so data adding is much easier now. I can go jump into the data 2 folder, and session 1, I want to add all 3 layers into my map view so that I can start my GIS project. Okay, so the map actually that I want to create is sort of because schools and school children populations and school districts. So basically in LA County, and I just interested in, you know, creating a map for like schools and school districts and so on and so forth. Right? So I have public schools, school district, and school age population. Everybody has this layer. Basically, public school layer showing the location of public schools, and school district is a, you know, school unified school district boundary, and school age population. I mean, this is something we're gonna explore a little later, but this is the school age children's population, school children's population, I believe, age between 5 and 18 or something. I don't remember clearly, but it's 5 to 18, and by census tract, I believe. So this is something, these, they are the data layers that we're going to use for the mapping purposes today, okay, for this session. So everybody has that 3 layers on GIS? Okay, thank you, Jacob. All right, then the first tools that I want to practice with you is just something called label. I mean, I don't have to explain what label is. I mean, label is something that we can add some text information, right, on the map. So, for example, I want to have name of school district on my map. Okay, so then I want to select the layers that I want to work with, for example, school district layer. And then I want to click this labeling tab up there. Everybody see? Labeling tab. If I click labeling tab, and then all I want to do is click label button. Then, as you can see, let me turn off public school layer just a moment. So now you see the labels, the name of each school district shows up on your map. So that's labels. I know this is not perfect because there's a little too crowded. It's kind of harder to read and so on and so forth. So it's not perfect, but I just want to show you how to quickly bring labels for the school district, right? So as you can see, it's done with just one button clicking, but actually this is what GIS did was pull out this data from attribute table. So for example, if you take a look at attribute table that associate with this school district layer, and if you right click on it, and if you click attribute table menu there, then you will see the attribute table of the layer will pop up in the bottom of your screen, right? So how GIS got this label is that it's nothing but reading this name field. So if you go to the labeling, you see the field somehow, some way, GIS choose is name, right? So that name field is nothing but the data stored in this name field. So GIS kind of like picked the field that makes most sense, and then propose as a default label field. So that's what happened. So the data stored in this field simply shows up on the map, right? I want you to understand that much. So this is not the magic. This is not, something random. The GIS choose the best field that may stores these labelings and showing as the default labeling field. If you want to switch it to something else, let's say, for example, district ID or something, I mean, obviously you can select here and you can choose different options for the labeling. Okay, so let's understand that much for now. So let me show the district name as my labels. It's my computer is really slow. Okay, so you can see it. Obviously, you may want to do the little sort of like a facial touch on this label because label is a little too crowded and kind of hard to read and so on and so forth. So if you take a look at here, you can control the font here. Obviously, if you make it font size smaller, it'll be a little less crowded for sure, right? Right, it's a little less crowded, but still it's crowded. And I mean, there's a lot of things that you can control here. I don't really want to go in depth and show you guys every single details of the label properties, but if you spend some time and explore those options there, and you can find the options or properties, then you can control and make your label better. Okay, and so like a couple of things that I want to show you is that if you click this little tiny box, bottom right corner of every tool groups, I mean, anything is okay. And if you click and you can see the property windows will pops up on your right hand side, then you can access to the control. Okay, so let's say, for example, if I want to make it my label little stands out little better, then I may want to I want to go to the symbol, I want to go to the appearance, and I want to, let's say, I want to make it I want to have a hello. So I want to have white hello color with a 2 point, and if I click apply button, then I will have a little boundary so that I can read my label better. So it's gonna take a while. So as you can see now, I have these labels in the white boundary. So if I make it either, let's say, barred font, then it'll be much more readable, right? Yeah, it's just so okay. So now, as you can see, my labels becomes much more readable, right? If you still sort of like see, this is a little too crowded here, and then we can sort of like not hand pick, but we can apply filters, and then we can control this crowdiness. So this part that I want to demonstrate to you right now, I don't want you to worry about it. Let me come back this part in this afternoon and explain what happened exactly. But what I'm going to show you is something called SQL query right here. And I want to say, hey, I don't want to show every single labels or every single school district name. I want to say, I want to just show the major school districts. So I want to do something like, I mean, once again, I don't want you to worry about the details here. So hey, I want to do something like this, and I want to apply. Then I can apply this so that I can show a few major, see, as you can see, I see a few major school district name, right? So that way I can control that crowdiness. Once again, this SQL query part, I don't want you to worry about it. this afternoon, we're gonna spend, a lot of time on the SQL query. And when we do so in the afternoon, I'll come back here and I will explain one more time what exactly happened. Actually, by this afternoon, you will automatically understand, hey, what exactly I'm doing here. But the point here is that you can control the crowdiness of your labor by applying your own condition or your own filtering systems, right? So you can drop the labels for those ones that you want dropped only, right? So that's the sort of like a label function. So it looks a lot better to me to have this a few labels, right? So that's the label function. Once again, as I said, I mean, if you spend your time here and explore all those options here in the buttons and in that property windows, and you can make your label better. Okay, and if you want to get rid of these labels, you can just click this button one more time. So this button far left hand side is like a toggle button on and off the label. So for now, let me just turn off, okay? And if you want to turn on, you can just simply click one more time and turn on, okay? Next topic that I want to go over is data visualization with symbology. So what does that mean by symbology is that this, the shapes and colors of this point and polygon in this case. So if you want to, obviously, if you want to change it, the size of symbols and colors and shapes of symbols or whatever, if you want to control the symbol, all you want to do is click these symbols. For example, this point. If I click, something my computer is really slow. So yeah, if you click this point, this symbology window will pops up and you can select all those symbology options available there. Okay, so you can select from this library if you want to find it out. Let's say the one that you want using some keyword. Let's say, hey, this is a public school, so why don't I type school here? Then GIS will give you some symbols related to the schools, right? So there's something GIS recommended, right? So, I want to select these schools. So if you want to click this like sort of like push pin types of school symbols, as you can see, symbols on my map change it so you can sort of pick whatever symbols that you want, right? And also, I mean, that's not it. After you picked the one that's from the library, and you can have like a full control on symbol. So if you click this properties buttons, you can control the size, you can control the color, you can control everything, you name it. If you spend some time here and explore all those options and what you can do here, then you can control, almost every single details of the symbols. So for example, simply, it's a little too crowded. So let me make it small, let's say 6 or something. And I don't like this purplish color. Let me make a little lighter color. Let me use a little lighter color. And
I heard that.
And they're gonna have to get a different kind of cutter to get to the tile. It was still a one-day thing. Like I said,
anybody turn on your?
I wonder if, I just wonder if who's here? Who was here?
Okay, I'm sorry. Somebody turn on their microphones. I turn it off. If anybody has a question, please let me know. But meanwhile, why don't we make sure to turn off your the microphone so that we don't want to bothers the progress of the session. Okay, so here going back to where I was, so I mean, as I said, you can control every single detail. So let's say, oh, I want to make it the color in there stands out. So let's say what's gonna happen, right? So if I do this now, as you can see, it's a little too small, but I can drop the point, in the shapes and colors that I want, right? So the bottom line is that if you click these symbols, and then if you go to the symbology windows, you have like a full control on your symbols. So similarly, I want to change the symbology of these polygon shapes, school district. I just want to make it sure that I don't want to show anything covers. I want to make it transparent. So if I choose the outline only symbols, then it changes. So now I can see it through. Hey, this is the overall boundary of the school district, but I can see through the details of the layers underneath of this school district, right? So that's something you can control on your symbology. And there's as I show you, there's a tons of symbols options you can choose from the library, right? If I scroll down, as you can see, it's a lot of symbols. I mean, I know you guys are picky, and if you want to really customize your map or personalize your map, obviously, as I said, after you select this library option and go to the properties, and you can change it, whatever property that you want to have. I mean, you can change it, right? I don't like this color, but I mean, you can change it whichever way that you want. Okay, so full detailed customization and personalization is possible. Okay, next item is like a little more kind of in-depth data visualization. Okay, so obviously you must saw the very colorful map made by GIS. I mean, that's really doable. That's totally possible. Here, that's what I want to talk about. So we can actually visualize our data in a meaningful way, so many different meaningful ways. I mean, we can do it. That's the power of GIS in terms of like spatial data visualization. So we're gonna play with the data visualization a little bit, but before doing so, I want to have clear understanding on the data type. The reason why I emphasize data type is that GIS offer different data visualization options for different data type. So you need to have a very clear understanding of the type of the data that you're about to visualize so that you can pick proper visualization tools. Okay. Broadly, GIS it's not about GIS. Broadly, the data we deal with is categorized into the two groups: categorical data and interval data. Categorical data is, we call it more academic definition is like a nominal data, right? So the data that represent classification or categories, for example, like, gender, male, female, for example, right? Or land use classification, isn't it, right? So that's the classification, categorical data, this nominal data representing sort of like data that make a classification, right? On the other hand, there is a data called interval data. It's a quantitative data. So numeric data, that data that we can apply mathematical formula. So 1 + 1 is equals 2, right? So population, for example. Population, it obviously is is a number, numeric data, quantitative data. The census tract with the population 1,000 is half of the population that has population 2,000, right? A census tract that has a population 2,000. So that mathematical formula we can apply, right? So you have to have the very clear distinction between categorical data and interval quantitative data. One important thing is that number, if you define data type only by appearance of the number, that's how can I say, it's a mistake. You don't want to do that. I mean, my point is that this categorical data can be expressed with a number. For example, we can use the number 1 for male, 0 for female, or land use code, right? Many local jurisdictions used land use code numerical value, let's say 1111, which is single family residential, right? So if you build your database with 1111, I mean, that's a number, but that doesn't mean that's interval data. That's more categorical data. The category just expresses the number, right? So you don't want to get, how can I say, confused by the format or appearance of data. You clearly understand the features of that data. Is this number, or even if this looks like a number, but this number is representing, real quantitative values, or simply category, right? So let's clearly understand your data type first. Then you can choose the right tools for you. As I said, GIS offers different data visualization options and tools. I mean, that's why I was kind of super emphasize and explain, things that you may already know, right? But I just want to re-emphasize, the importance of data type, right? So if you want to visualize nominal data, categorical data, then you may want to go with this option, symbolize your layer by category. If you want to visualize quantitative data, that interval data, the numeric value data, then GIS offer a lot of different options you can choose. Okay, so let's play these options a little bit so we can understand what's going on, right? So first of all, I don't want to just show a bunch of points like this showing the location of a public school. Instead, I want to classify that point by types of schools. Let's say, elementary school, middle school, high school, or something like that. So if you take a look at attribute table of the public schools, once again, right click and choose the attribute table menu or options. There's a lot of information about each schools. At the end, there's like school types, right? High school, elementary, and middles, and things like that. So I want to take advantage of this field, and I want to classify that bunch of points into the three classes: elementary, middle, high schools. Okay, so that's what we are about to do. To do so, I want you to click and select this public school on your table of contents, which is the layer that you want to work on. And then if you click feature layer tab up there, there is a tool called symbology. So if you click symbology button up there, symbology windows will open. Then we're gonna select whatever visualization option that we want to use, right? So as I described, the data type that we're gonna use for this visualization is categorical data, right? 3 classification, elementary, middle, high. So I want to use this option called unique value. Then all you want to do is that you want to select the field that store the information that you want to use for this classification. So school type is the one that I want. Then GIS automatically classify all your data into the 3 classes as we expected, elementary, high, middle. And there is some extra points that or other value. I mean, in the case that there is some other value than those 3 classifications. But to me, there's no other classification. There's no other school type than 3 those classes, elementary, middle, high. So this is some unnecessary extra. So let me get rid of this. Right click on the or other value, and if I click remove, I can get rid of them, right? So which is one extra that we don't need. And as you can see, you can choose, GIS automatically classify to the 3 classes and assign the default symbols there. And if you like it, you can take it, but if you don't like it, you can customize it. For example, and as you can see, there's no such a difference between high school and middle school symbols. Then why don't I change the middle school symbols? Then if I click that symbols, in the middle schools, right, I can customize it, right? I can change it, middle school symbols. So let me change it to a different color. Let's say, why don't I use this, I don't know, purplish color. And if I click apply, and if I go back, now, as you can see, I was able to assign my customized the symbol. So point here is that, oh yeah, GIS assign randomly to those, randomly assign the symbols to that classification. You can take those default, or if you want to customize it, you can customize it. And also, I don't like this. One minor touch that I want to do is that I don't like this order, elementary, high, middle. It would be better or more intuitive to have elementary, middle, high. So I want to move down this high school to the bottom using this arrow button. So the order is more intuitively, in the line, elementary, middle, high, right? That kind of control, you can do it here. Right, so that's how you can visualize your nominal data or categorical data. So now your map become much more informative, that you can see where high schools or middle schools or elementary school, or rather than showing the bunch of points for the location of schools, right? And next exercise is the visualizing the quantitative data, right? Interval data. So for that, I want to use this school age population layer. And if you take a look at attribute table, once again, before we jumping on to the data visualization, let's understand our data first. So if you take a look at the attribute table, I actually downloaded data from the census, and I made this data available for you. So there's a total population data, right? And school age population, right? So this is the number of population whose age is in between 5 and 18. And that's the total population in the each census tract. So that data is available. I want to use this school age population data to show sort of like a spatial relationship between where potential school children lives and the location of the schools and so on and so forth, right? So we can make our map a little more intuitive. So for that, repeatedly, I want to select this layer on the table of contents, right? I want to go to the symbology options. And I want to select one of these menu. Okay, so the one of the most popular one is like a graduate color. So if I click graduate color, then GIS some way doing something for you, but let's make sure that you're not actually misled by this default option. I mean, I don't like this part, but whenever you click this, GIS does something for you, but that doesn't mean that that's exactly what you want. So you may want to check, those default options. Always, how can I say? Always accept these default options critically, right? Don't just take it. So this is not exactly what we want. What GIS does is that GIS kind of randomly select this A land field to visualize this map, but that's not the field that we want. As I explained just before, the data field that we need to visualize this map, or the data field that stores the value that we want to visualize, is the school age _ pop field. So I want to select that field. Then GIS will show you the where is the area with the high number of school age population and where is not, right? So as a default, GIS classify all those more than 2,000 census tract into the 5 classification. If you want to look at the more details, in other words, more classification, you can select different number of classification here, right? And if you want to select different color pattern, GIS offers a lot of different color schemes here. And if you want to see more, you can click show all, right? Then there's even more color schemes there. And you can choose whatever color schemes that you want, right? And as you can see, there's a lot of color schemes. So let me select, for example, my favorite one is blue to red is the one. Okay, here. So let me select this one. So we can see, hey, what is a sort of like a, sort of like a, how, I don't know if this makes sense, but what is a cold area, the blue area, which is a, smaller number of school age population, was the hot area, which is red color, dark red colors representing the high number of school age population. Voila. So now your map become much more informative. It's a kind of like something, informative information here is that if you take a look at this area, hey, it looks like there's a lot of like school age children lives in this area, but there's not many schools. But if you take a look at this area, I mean, there's not many school age children lives there, but there's a lot of schools, right, here. So you can see there's some sort of like a so-called spatial mismatch of the school location of schools and the school age children's population, right? School children population. So you see my point. So the whole point is that your map becomes more informative. Okay. Another way to visualize your, this data is that you can go with it. Let's say, for example, you can do like a dot density. If you go with a dot density, GIS will drop the dot. So let me explain. Let me turn off my school layer and let me explain this, right? So you see the dot. So you see a lot of dots, right? That's one dot actually representing you can control here. So I want to drop the one dot for the like a 500 school children population. So if I click dot value, oh, my GIS become cranky. Hold on. Just give me a second. I don't know why just doing this. It should have showed a bunch of dots, but right now, okay, let me change it. Right now, my GIS become very cranky. So let me change it to something else and let me go back. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to select school age population here, right? Now, everybody see that? So you see the real area with a high concentration of dot. Then that's the area with a lot of school children lives. So according to my definition here is that one dot represents 300 school age children, right? So the area here, here, that's a lot of school children lives. Those areas here, it's a smaller number of school children lives. So you can express that quantitative value with a so-called dot density, right? So there's a lot of options. Basically, what I want to say is that there's a variety of the different way to visualize your data. So if you explore these options, and you will be able to see, you will be able to choose whatever visualization option that you want. Okay, so there's a multiple options there. So if I want to go back, graduate color, for example, let me go back. Where I was, and then let me explain one more things, okay? One thing that I want to point here out is that right now, my map presenting actually the raw number of school children population. But critically thinking, I don't like the way that I show the school children population, because see here, this area is simply, dark red because it's a larger census tract. Maybe this area is simply light yellow color because simply smaller census tract. In other words, larger area automatically have better chance to have more population. More population means, more school children population. Everybody understand my point? So this is not the sort of like a apples and apple comparison. Comparing this large census tract to this small census tract, that doesn't make sense. That's not the apples and apple comparison. So if you want to make an apples and apple comparison, research method terminology, we have to do the normalization. In other words, let's say showing the population is one way to show the population, but once again, larger census tract may have more chance to have more population. So that's why many times we use the concept called population density, right? Population per acre or something. Then that's the sort of like a population divided by acres is, you know, apples and apple comparison. So similarly, we can do this without any calculation. GIS gives you guys the option to normalize your data using this normalization option. So if you choose here, either A land, which is the acreage of this census tract. If we normalize our school age population with this A land, that means school children population per acre, for example. Now you see your map dramatically changing, right? And then if we overlay with this schools, it makes a lot of sense. There's no spatial mismatch. The area with high concentration of school children population, you see schools following that patterns very well. Some exception here and there, right? Or if you wanna visualize another ways that we can normalize by total population. So this is like a school age population per capita, right? We can do this, but somewhat also, as you can see, you know, the school location of school matches very well with this normalized value, right? Point here is that whichever way that you want to visualize your data, that's fine, but you have to have very clear understanding of your data, and you have to have very clear understanding of what you're visualizing right now. Oh, the data that I visualize right now is exactly what I want to show. You have to, you know, critically think of that, and you may want to choose the data visualization option that works for your purpose. Okay, so the important thing here is that it's not about these tools or button clicking. As I said, there's a bunch of different data visualization tools available. I mean, you can choose whatever you want to use it. But more important thing is that you have to have good understanding of your data and what you want to visualize. Okay, as you can see, you know, selecting one option here, your map dramatically changes, right? So you have to always critically think, and you have to understand what you're visualizing, and you want to make sure that's exactly what you want to do. Okay, so let's pretend and this is something I like, and also if I turn on label of my school district somehow, some way, then this is something I kind of like it. I want to visualize my map this way. So why don't we create the map? The map mean the paper map, okay? So let's create it, not the paper map, or paper map or PDF map. So why don't we create a map, okay? So why don't we produce the map out of these works that we did it so far, okay? In order to create the map, we want to add something called layout view. Layout view is, you know, another view, something different from this map view. This is the map view. If you remember the conversation that we had yesterday, this is the so-called map view that allows you guys to work on the analysis and visualization and so on and so forth. And then in order to create a map, we want to add something called layout view. Layout view is nothing but blank paper. So I want you to think of this one. I am about to add one page of Microsoft Word document or one slide of PowerPoint slide. That's what you're going to do. It's a blank paper. We're going to add the element that we want in that blank paper so that we can create our map. Okay. So I want to go to the Insert tab at the top. I want to click this New Layout button. Then, as I said, literally GIS asks you to pick a paper, right? So you can choose paper, any paper that you want by size and by orientation of the paper. So in this case, why don't I just select landscape letter size paper. Then voila, you have blank papers, right? So from here, by bringing whatever the elements that you need to put it into your map, you can build a map, okay? So for example, the most important thing is that, hey, I want to bring this, the map view object into my layout view so that I can show my map, right? So to do so, I want to go to the layout view, and you see under the Insert tab, you see Map Frame button. So if you click Map Frame button, you see one of the map frames that you worked on so far, right? So I want you to select that map frame or map view and click and drag down and draw the rectangular shape. Then you will see the layers in the map view shows up on your map, right? Obviously, I'm not so happy with this because, my map does not show entire study area, which is LA County. So if you want to zoom in and zoom out, make it like levels of zoom correctly, you may want to scroll your middle mouse wheels and scroll this and zoom in and zoom out. But as you can see, your middle mouse will zoom in, zoom out right now does not work in a way that works in the map view, right? Right now, the way that you zoom in, zoom out is that you zoom in, zoom out entire paper, not particularly this map view, right? So in order to control the map view zoom level, you want to kind of go to the map view, okay? How is that you want to right click on that rectangular shapes you draw, and there is a menu called Activate. Then everything's grayed out, and then map view is only activated. As you can see now, if you scroll your mouse, and then you can go to the zoom levels, and you can change the zoom level. And let me move something like this. So I got everything that I want, right? So I'm okay with these levels of zoom. Let me scroll over a little bit to the west. All right, I'm okay with this. I like this. And if you want to lock it up, this zoom level, I want to pay attention here. So if you take a look at top left corner of layout view window, there's a button, or not button, but text called layout. And if you click this, now you came back to the full layout view. Even if you scroll your mouse where actually your map view zoom level is locked in, now you're in the layout view. So you can toggle between map view and layout view by activating this map view. Okay. Rest of them is pretty much, it's very straightforward now. We want to add one by one whatever that we want to make this map more informative. right? So for example, I want to add a title, right? Then I want to think of this is really like, one slide of PowerPoint you work on, okay? So, oh, I want to add title, so I want to add this, let's say, text, right? I want to add my text box right there, and I want to type title of the map, school and school. Why don't I just name school and school, children population? I mean, whatever, titles that you think make sense. Okay, and I typed in, oops. So I typed in the my title, and obviously I'm not so happy with this title because it's a little too large to me. Then you can right click on that title and go to the properties. Once again, you can control whole 9 yards of details of this title, right? So here you can click text symbol, and let me make it a little smaller. And why don't I just select like a 36? And obviously, font size and font types and everything you can select here. Okay, so if you click apply, I mean, just example. Oh, that's some sort of weird symbols. I don't want to use that. So why don't I use different font? So let me have this as my title, right? So point is that after you add whatever elements that you want to add to your map, and if you want to switch around or modify a little bit, you can right click and go to the properties, then you can access the full control of that element, okay? And here, why don't we keep adding some map elements, right? And from, easier one. So I want to add north arrow to give a little more orientation of my map. So I want to select north arrow option here. I mean, a lot of north arrow option available on the map. You can choose whatever that you want. And if I just use the very simple one and select the north arrow that I want, and once again, click and drag and draw, then you can have it. I mean, if you want to make it smaller, you can make it smaller, like exactly same way that you work on your PowerPoint slide, right? Object in the PowerPoint. So you can drop the north arrow. Another one is, let's say I want to add a scale bar. Once again, there's a lot of scale bars there, and I want to use one of the scale bars. Just want to drop here, right? So I had a scale bar here. Couple of things of the scale bar, guys, is that, hey, the scale bar that I have right now, it's not the best one, because I want you guys to think of the purpose of scale bar. Scale bar is a reference for any distance measure, but nobody used 24-mile reference. This is not the best scale. You may want to use the much more discrete number. I don't know, 10 mile, right? Or 20 mile would be better than 24-mile reference, right? So then I want to make it, let's say, 20-mile scale bar. So if I make it smaller, let's say, if you control the size of it, then you can make it as whatever units that you want to specify. I know it's a little, right now it's a little straightforward, but now I made a 20-mile scale, right? It's better than 24, okay? Another thing,
Okay. Will you close my door?
Anybody, any question? Eileen? Do you have any question for me?
No, sorry, I didn't realize I was unmuted.
So 20 miles, right? Another thing is that I don't know how do you guys feel it, but if I zoom out a little bit, maybe this part is a little crowded, right? It's kind of hard to see what exactly is a 2.5 mile or 5 mile. So it's kind of a little crowded. So how to control that crowdiness is that right click and go to the properties. And if you click this second button called properties, what's this? Is it property view? Yeah. There is something called divisions and subdivision. What does that mean by division and subdivision? Which is the both for subdivision and divisions are default. Divisions, 4 divisions mean 1, 2, 3, 4 division. 4 subdivision mean 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Okay, so that's the 4 is the default value, and if you reduce this number, as you can see, it reduced down, so it has more space between the division and subdivision, so that we can control the crowdiness a little bit. Okay, so let's do so. Once again, whenever you guys add elements like that, and if you want to control, if you want to kind of like articulate those details, right click and go to the properties, and then you can control the details. Okay, and then another things that we want to add is something called legend. I mean, why don't we just pick any legend type and add legend and fix if there is anything that you don't like. So this is a legend that I edited up, right? A couple of things about the legend. The legend items here is dynamically linked to the table of contents in your map. So in other words, what does that mean is that, see, now I don't like this title called public school underscore public underscore school. It says public school. And SCH type, I don't like. I don't want, without this, I think to fully explain it, we can, have a full explanation. It's very, without this item right here, SCH underscore type, it will be intuitive. So this is usually, is extra information. I want to control something like that, right? Then what I want to do is that I want to go to my table of contents of map view, and I want to change the name of this layer. So if I double click this layer name, there's the name I can control here. So why don't I replace that underscore with the space? So I got rid of the underscore, right? And if I go to my legend item, as you can see, the underscore is gone. Now public space scores, it's makes much more sense, right? And how do I get rid of this SCH underscore type? We have to control the property of this legend item. So if you take a look at the table of contents of layout view, you will see legend right there. This table of contents of the layout view, list every single item that you have in your map, including scale bar and north arrow and everything. So if you click this little tiny triangular shape, you will see each item in the legend. So for example, public schools, right? We talk about this public school item in the legend, right? Then if I want to change something on the public school item, I want to right click on the public school item, open the properties. Layer name here, under the legend item, layer name here means school, a public school. Headings is SCH underscore type. Label here is the elementary, middle, high school, that's the label. So if I check this box off of heading, then as you can see, the SCH underscore type is gone. Now public school, elementary, middle, high schools makes much more sense. It's much more intuitive, right? Similarly, I can go to the school age population item, open the property, and turn off the heading, right? And then I can have this, make it a little simpler and make it more intuitive. Still, it's not very intuitive. So let me go to the my table of contents in the table of contents of map view, and let me change this name, right? So why don't I name school children population per acre or something. Then if I spell out this, then it says school, right? School children population per acre. And oh, now it makes a lot of sense. And but I don't like these long decimal places. So let me change the long decimal places. And once again, I want to go back to the map view interface, and I want to go to the symbology. Windows. And then if you click, I don't remember the name of the button, but if you click this, the far right button on the symbology option, and there is like a format label option. And if you reduce number of decimal places, let's say 2 decimal places or something like that. And decimal places to like, let's say 2 or something, 3, I don't know, whatever numbers that make sense to you, and you can select the decimal places here. So you can, as you can see, decimal places on your table of contents has been reduced. Then if you go to your legend, then you have reduced legend decimal places on your legend. So I don't want to say this is like a perfect. I don't want to say this is the best, but somewhat in some way my maps and the legends is become much more intuitive. It's much more readable now, right? So once again the point is that whenever you add something on your map, right click, go to the properties, and you explore all those options in the properties, then you can make your map object more intuitively, and you can have full control on each object in the map by getting through the properties windows. Okay. One last things before we kind of like export this map as a PDF file is that this one. Of course, this credit information is important, but it kind of bothers me. I don't like to have this credit. Obviously, Esri doesn't like the idea to get rid of the credit from the map, but there is some way that bypass that we can get rid of this credit. Okay, how is that? By taking advantage of dynamic text. So if you go up to the insert tab, there is a menu called the button called dynamic text, and after expanded this dynamic text, then scroll down. Then there is the service layer credit dynamic text there. After you select this and click once again and draw by clicking and dragging the box, and you can have this dynamic text outside of your map. Don't do this, but please make sure that this text box is outside of your map. Okay, something like that. Then this text box will not show up when you export this map to the PDF format. Okay, so it's up to you. If you want to leave your credit layer in your map and showing the appreciation of the credit, you can have the credit, but otherwise you can just set aside, right, the credit so that when you export it out your map, it does not show up on your map, right? So either way, it's fine. So here in this map, let's say it's not, once again, it's not perfect, but let's pretend this is perfect and you want to export this map out as your PDF file or JPEG file, whichever way that you prefer, whichever format that you prefer. So let's say, oh, if you want to insert this map into your PowerPoint presentation, you may want to export it as a JPEG file. And I don't know, if you want to insert this map as one of the appendix of your report, you may want to export it as a PDF file, whichever way that you want, right? So here, if you go to the Share tab at the very top, you can export out this layout, okay? Once again, if you want to export as a JPEG file, you can do it using this web JPEG file option or TIFF files, another options. And if you want to export as a PDF file, you can, choose these multiple options. Actually, flattened PDF file is that, let's say that's the Adobe Acrobat, the basic PDF file is the flattened PDF file. Vector PDF file is the PDF file that preserves layer information. So those of you guys familiar with like Adobe Illustrator, for example, let's say, oh yeah, after I created this map, I want to do some final touch on this map using Adobe Illustrator, then it is a good idea to export it as a vector PDF file options, okay? So let's say, if I want to go with a vector PDF file option, and all you want to do is give it a name of the, PDF file. Let's say, let me navigate to the folder. I'm okay with this temp folder. So why don't I name, see map, whatever names that you feel comfortable and you can remember, right? And there's your resolution information. Everybody must be familiar with like a DPI, right? So you can control your resolution or type the resolution as a 300 DPI, which is. And that's all you want to do, okay? One thing that I recommend is that I want you guys check this box on convert character marker symbols to polygon. That option will allow you avoid any mistranslation of this item in the map to the PDF. So what does that actually, option does is that when GIS created some so-called marker symbols like a legend and scale bar or North arrow or something like that. And when you choose the very specific, those symbols, and when you select a very complicated shape, sometimes PDF file does not read these complicated symbols. So when you created a PDF file, you must find that some very weird symbols pops up. Then the reason why is that PDF does not read those symbols the way that GIS reads, right? So if you check this box on, GIS converts these symbols into a simple polygon, so that kind of make sure the PDF can read those symbols. So I always, turn this box on to avoid any complication. So that's all you want to do. And if you click export button, export is completed, right? Then if I find that PDF file in my file explorer, for example, under my temp folder, hey, there's a map that I created. If I open my PDF file, PDF map, voila. I mean, if you want to embed this map on the web page, obviously you can publish it. You can create a JPEG file or a PDF file and bring it to the web page. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know what exactly a widget mean, but obviously this is any normal document or computer files. So you can bring it to the web page, right? I'm not like a web, how can I say, web, I'm not a web programmer, so I don't know how exactly doing in a web, like HTML or like the web internet side, but obviously you can treat this as any files, any given files, so you can link or upload it to the web page, right? So as you can see, this is the maps that you guys created, and if you take a look at this layer option in the PDF, as I said, the way that we export this map is to preserve the layer information. So as you can see, you can take a look at, and you have all those control on every single layers. You can turn off, for example, my labels, or turn on, and the layers, each layers, you have also control, right? So if you want to do some final touch on the map using Adobe Illustrator or any other software, I mean, you can do this, okay? So that's the sort of A to Z from starting your GIS project and produce the map as the final product of your GIS project, okay? Okay, so enabled in the map without ArcGIS Online, yeah, that is like you can using like a story map applications, and that's the one good way to bring your map to the web. I mean, why don't you go explore a story map? Story map is, I think it comes with like ArcGIS Online account. I think you don't need any extra license for the story map as far as you have ArcGIS Pro license. Then you can do the story maps, and then story maps is a really good way to bring all those map information on the web. Okay, I mean, why don't I show you Okay, it's like a 10:31. Let's take a 15-minute break. When we come back, I will show you kind of an examples of story map. Okay, story map is the good way. Okay, so why don't we take a 15-minute break, and then I'll meet you guys back at 10:45. Okay.